نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتداهم بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Dear respected honorable listeners, I greet you with the greetings of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we will commence with Surah Lahab inshallah today. Inshallah, Ustadh Shuaib will go through the tafsir. And inshallah, I'll recite the surah 2-3 times and we'll go over the mashq inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد صدق الله العظيم. Just going over some common mistakes inshallah. In the first verse, the tabbat yada, the yada here has to be stretched for alif because it's a madde munfasil. So here it is 4 alif tawassut, 4 alif long, inshallah. 4 alif can also mean, 4 to stretch for at least 3 to 4 seconds. Then also in the second verse, again there is a madde munfasil. Ma aghna, ma has to be stretched also for 4 alif long. So here also madde munfasil, so we stretch for 4 alif long. And ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. Now the word kasab, the last word here, it has a fatha on top, it has a dhabar on top. Now when we stop on a ba, so when we stop here, wa ma kasab, we give it a sakin. So by stopping, we give in the ba a sakin. And when a sakin comes on top of a ba, we must do a echo sound, also known as qalqala. So ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab. The third verse, common mistake, sayassala. The third letter is swad, not a sin. A lot of people make the common mistake of reading this swad as a sin, sayassala. Rather, it is a swad, and you read it and the swad is a full mouth letter. So you read sayasla naran dhata naran. Now, when we join naran to dhata, when we reading, after the tanween, the letter dhal comes. And after a tanween, if the letter dhal comes, then ikhfa takes place. Meaning you do gunna. So you stretch. You make a sound from the nose, make a nasal sound, slight nasal sound, and you do ikhfa on the tanween. So sayaswala naran dhata lahab. Also again here lahab, the ba has a two there at the bottom. It has kasratain at the bottom because we have stopped here. Because we're gonna if you stop here, so then you make the ba into a sakin, and by making a ba into a sakin, you have to do qalqala, also known as echo. But it is better for you to join with the next verse. Sayasala naran dhata lahabu wa imra'atuh. Now when you're joining lahabu wa imra'atuh, now you are joining the ba and the waw together, also known as idgham. Now when a tanween comes and the letter waw comes afterwards, then you do idgham. And in this case, you also do gunna as well. You also do idgham and you also do gunna. So lahabi wa imra'atuh hammalat al-hatab. In the word hamma, the meme has a tashdid. And wherever in the Quran, the meme has a tashdid or a noon has a tashdid, always will be with gunnah. So hammalat al-hatab. Also again here, when we stop on the ba, you read it with the qalqala sound. You read it with the echo sound because we put a sakin when we're ending. في جيدها حبل من مسد, the last verse. The most common mistake is في جيدها. Some people, they don't stretch the jim. You know, the ya had a sakin, fi jidiha, ya had a sakin, and the letter before jim has a there, it has a kasra. So then we have to stretch for one alif, fi jidiha. Some people read fi jidiha, or some people what they do is they stretch the dal. The letter afterwards, the ya, the dal, it does not have a ya afterwards. So it's not fi jidiha. Only the only letters you stretch is the fa, the first letter fa, and the jim, fi ji. You do not stretch the dal. And then you stretch the ha because after the ha, the letter alif comes and the ha has a fatha on top. So fi jidiha hablum min masad here. Hablum, here the ba already has a sakin, and ba is from the words of qalqala, the words of echo. So you read with the slight echo sound, hablum, hablum. And hablum min masad, when the lam joins with the meme. Also in this case, idgham takes place. The tanween is there, also known as dhammatain, two pesh, and uh, the letter meme comes afterwards. When the letter meme comes after a tanween or a noon sakin, idgham takes place. But also in this case, gunna also takes place. Idgham also, gunna also takes place. So hablum mim masad. Also, if you look at the word afterward, the noon sakin. First, the lam has the dhammatain, but the word afterwards, min, has a noon sakin. Now, when a noon sakin comes and the letter afterwards has a meme, then idgham takes place. Also here, gunna takes place. So there's a lot of idgham and gunna in this surah. So these are common mistakes that a lot of people, tend to not do. So fi jidiha hablum mim masad. Also this dal at the end, you make it into a sakin because most likely everyone will stop on this verse. So you make it into a sakin and then you do a qalqala. So inshallah we'll read it one more time inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد صدق الله العظيم.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, we have gone over many surahs. And many of these surahs, they have, we've taken many lessons, such as just from the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, events in his life, the nature of the message, the revelation, the nature of the people around him, things to come in the afterlife, specifically Jannah, in Surah Kawthar. Now we're entering a new surah, and this surah is a lot more, it's more specific to the afterlife in a way, where it's pertaining to Jahannam, whereas we don't really find that in the previous surahs that we went through. It's going into of detail about Jahannam and specifically one person. Well, one person and his family, which is Abu Lahab. And he is, as far as I can remember, he is the only one in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, other than the Prophet ﷺ, that is mentioned in the Quran by name. Okay, of course, Prophet ﷺ, his name is mentioned, وَمَا مَحْمَدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ, for example, but I cannot recall any other name. I cannot recall any other name that is mentioned in the Quran while they are living in the time of the revelation. Okay, so it's unique in that sense. He is the only one living in that time who is also a kafir, who is mentioned by name. So it's quite a unique surah compared to the rest. Now, just a little backdrop to the surah itself, and you might have heard the story. It's quite a famous narration that by this time the Prophet ﷺ already started preaching to his closer companions, okay, his family members within his own family, to the poor people. Can I just ask if I'm still frozen?
You're very glitchy, brother.
Is it very glitchy?
Yeah.
I don't have data,
No.
but how bad is it? Is it still bad? Or?
It's pretty all right now. Carry on.
Yeah. Where did it start lagging?
Your sound's fine. It's just your video. Carry on, inshallah.
Okay. So the sound's fine.
Yeah, the sound's fine. To me, is
okay.
Yes, the sound seems okay. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So the backdrop to this story, to this surah, it's quite a famous narration where by this time the Prophet ﷺ, he already started inviting people to Islam, specifically the poor people in his family. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, Ali radiallahu anhu. These are the people that were invited already by this time. Now Allah commanded him to actually go out in public and invite everyone else in your community to Islam. Okay, so this is a very big step for him. Yeah, it's a very big step. And by the way, he already knows that he's going to be cast out by his own people. How does he know this? Because when he first received revelation, Khadija radiallahu anha asked her cousin about him. You know, is he going through anything wrong? And then her cousin, who is Nawfal ibn Waraqa, he said, no, he is a messenger sent by Allah to his people. Okay, sent by Allah to his people, and they will cast him out, they will drive him out. Okay, so he already knew about this. But anyway, he was commanded to publicly announce his Islam to a bunch of pagans. So he called everyone in Quraysh, in Mecca, and he got to the mountain of Safa, went a little high on the mountain of Safa, and we know which mountain this is because we do Safa Marwa, we do the Sa'i in Hajj, in Umrah. Okay, so he stood upon this mountain and he asked everyone, just to know if they would see him as truthful in what he is claiming. He asked them, if I were to tell you that there is an army camped over this mountain ready to fight you, would you believe me? And his people said that we would not think anything else of you, okay, because you are Al-Amin, yeah, you are truthful. We do not think badly of you. So then he said, okay, then I am calling to you of a day that is to come after death, okay, of a great day, of a great reckoning that is to come after death. And remember, the pagans in this time, they did not believe in life after death. So when they heard this was a shock to the system, okay. And he's also claiming the oneness of a deity in a community where they had multiple idols that they were worshipping at the same time. Uzza and Lat and so many others. So this is a shock to the system. And out of this crowd, one man stands up. And this man is the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Uncle meaning the brother of his father. Okay, so it is his paternal uncle. And in narration, how was his father and Abu Lahab brothers, meaning from their mother's side. Okay, meaning that they had the same mother. Okay. Also the son of Abdul Muttalib, meaning they came from the same mother as well. So he stood up and he said, Tabbal laka alihada jama'tana. And this means, may you be perished. Is this why you have gathered us? Okay? Is this why you have gathered us? And in that moment, in that time, Allah revealed the surah, Surah Lahab. And this is a very powerful surah, because this surah, it gives a prophecy that Abu Lahab, he will never become Muslim. He will die on his kufr, he will die in his shirk. Okay? And this is true, he died. All that time, he died in kufr, and even his family, they died in kufr. This is the prophecy of the surah. As it starts, so we're going into the surah now. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. That the hands of Allah, the hands of Abu Lahab have perished. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. And he has perished. His hands have perished and he has perished. Meaning that he is going to be fully into to the punishment. That there is no escape for him. The punishment is definite for him. Okay. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. That his wealth and whatever he owns, whatever he has earned, will not save him. Will not save him from this punishment. And interpretation of kasab, wama kasab here means his children, okay, his sons. They will not save him from this punishment. ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. And remember reading an ayah in Surah Ma'idah where it says, إن الذين كفروا لو أن لهم ما في الأرض جميعا ومثله معه ليفتدوا به من عذاب يوم القيامة ما تقبل منهم. Okay? That verily those who disbelieve, verily those who commit kufr, إن الذين كفروا لو أن لهم ما في الأرض جميعا ومثله. That if they had everything, if they took everything in this world, ومثله, and that like it, so you could say double that amount, ليفتدوا به من عذاب يوم القيامة ما تقبل منهم. That if they were to use all of this as a ransom to save them from the punishment on the day of judgment, it will not be accepted from them. Okay, and this ties into this ayah, ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. That it doesn't matter what he uses, to save himself from the punishment. It is too late. You cannot start ransoming your safety now, for your safety right now. After all this time, you had all this time to accept the message. So why didn't you? You can't just ransom yourself now. It's too late. It's gone. Allah doesn't need your money. Allah doesn't need your wealth. So Allah says, "Ma aghna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab." And it is said that, because it's going into his family now. Remember Abu Lahab, he was someone that actually used to, you could say, have love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That even when he was born, that he gave gifts and whatnot. And one narration says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam even married two of his daughters to his sons. Okay, to two of his sons, Ruqayya and Kulthum. Okay, those are his two daughters. That he even married them to two of his sons. So you could see that there was a lot of bond in their family. So we can only imagine how painful it must have been for Abu Lahab to say this, and how painful it must have been for the surah to be revealed. It is not that the Prophet ﷺ wants this, especially for his own blood. Okay, can you imagine the pain he's going through? So his family, his wealth, his sons, they cannot save him from this punishment. He is destined for it. ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب. That he will enter a fire that is flaming red. سيصلى نارا ذات لهب. That is flaming red. ذات لهب. And this is where he got the name Abu Lahab from. That he was called Abu Lahab because he had a very, very red complexion. Okay, you could say it was flaming. It was a very red complexion. Otherwise, his real name is Abdul Uzza. Okay, Abdul Uzza. So it's sort of Allah's, playing here with him, that your name is Abu Lahab. You're going to enter a fire that is Dhat Lahab, that is flaming red. Okay, then that will be a very befitting title for you. Okay, it's also sort of like people unconsciously prophesizing his punishment, calling him Abu Lahab. Imagine this, subhanallah, for him to be called Abu Lahab, and then for him to enter a fire which Allah has called Dhat Lahab, that is flaming red. It's sort of like an unconscious prophecy here through the people calling him that, subhanallah. So this is his punishment. وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. That his wife will also enter this fire. وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. His wife, who is the carrier of the wood, is the carrier of wood. What does this mean? There are two interpretations for this, and they are not necessarily exclusive of each other. That they can both mean that this can both mean both of these interpretations, but one of the interpretations is that she used to basically grab thorns and everything, anything that could harm you when you're walking, and she used to throw it in the path of the Prophet ﷺ. She used to try to into it where he would walk, and then throw thorns in that path. So just in case if he walks on that path, he can be hurt by those thorns. Okay, so that's one interpretation of Hammalat al-Hatab, carrier of wood. And the other interpretation, and this is more of a metaphorical interpretation, that she used to gossip, slander about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, slander about him. Okay, So these are the two interpretations. She used to slander a lot about him, and also she used to carry thorns and throw it in his path wherever he would walk. And this just shows that the kufr, how it just seeped into his family. Okay, that Abu Lahab, he is such an individual that his family is so affected by this kufr. Okay, and his family are, even people from his own family are trying to hurt the Prophet ﷺ in very humiliating ways. So she will also enter this fire. وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ فِي جِيدِهَا حَبْلٌ مِّن مَسَدٍ. And around her neck will be a rope tied, which is made out of palm fiber. Okay, she will have a rope made out of palm fiber tied around her neck, okay, to drag her. Okay, can you imagine how degenerative this punishment is? Just where you're being, where you're being shackled around your own neck and you're being drugged. Yeah, and one interpretation for this palm fiber, it could also mean chains as well of metal. Okay, chains of metal, but in the verse it says rope made out of palm fiber. Okay, so this is the rough translation of the surah. Now I want to go into one area of this, and it could be a question that comes up for some Muslims, that how could Allah destine for someone punishment? Okay, that Abu Lahab, how could Allah just command that Abu Lahab be put into the fire? Okay, and that is sort of like, if what Allah says is true, then it cannot be otherwise. So Abu Lahab is sort of forced into his kufr. Okay, that is a possible question out of this. That how could Allah allow such a thing? And this goes into a big debate. Well, two different debates, to be honest. Predestination versus free will, and the other one is the problem of evil as well. How does Allah allow suffering if He is merciful, and so on. I don't want to go into these tangents too much, but because it's not the focus of the surah. But one thing we have to understand from this is that someone, what I read in one tafsir, someone does not become a kafir or a mu'min, or should I say, someone does not have bad character because of his kufr, and someone does not have good character because of his iman. It is the other way around, meaning you become kafir because your heart is filled with impurities, and you become a mu'min because your heart is pure. Okay, if that makes sense. That because your heart is already, because Abu Lahab, his heart was already in a state of denying that which is true and having a very impure heart, that it's not going to be otherwise. Okay, it's not going to be otherwise. If his heart was pure, then he would be more accepting of the message. Look, he had other uncles. The Prophet ﷺ had other uncles that accepted Islam. Hamza radiallahu anhu, the one who was martyred, and Abbas radiallahu anhu. These are his uncles as well. They accepted Islam. So this comes down to how pure is your heart. And Abu Lahab, we can see from this ayah that his heart was not pure enough to accept Islam. Okay, it was not pure enough to accept Islam, and therefore he is destined for that punishment. Okay, I think we only have about 5-6 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions or need any points clarifying or any feedback?
I've got a question about the tilawat of the surah itself.
Okay.
Where he talks about the wife, وَامْرَأَتُهُ, would you separate that from the previous ayah, or would you join it? What makes more sense?
What do you mean? سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته, like that.
Yeah, I mean, joining it together almost doesn't make sense in the translation. It's kind of like, it feels like it's better to separate it. What's your take on that?
Well, in the Arabic language, it's our viewers are not really might not understand this, but it's basically something called ma'tuf alayh, where
Okay.
because in the first ayah where it says that Abu Lahab will enter the fire, in the second ayah it says wamra'atuhu, and also his wife will enter the fire as well. I mean,
oh, okay. I thought it's wamra'atu, then hamalat al-hatab is like
no. Hamalat al-hatab is just describing what kind of person she is.
so that's like a bit of a badal.
No. If it was, I don't want to go into grammar, but if it was badal, then it would be wamra'atuhu hamalatul hatab.
Sure.
Do you get it? It's just describing something about her. Okay. وامرأته حمالة الحطب. I don't want to go into too much detail. It gets a bit complex, but
I think I got what you mean. Thank you.
This ayah is connected to the ayah before that, in that Abu Lahab will enter the fire and she will also enter the fire. And what kind of person is she? She is someone that carries wood, if that makes sense.
Okay, I get you. I've always thought of it what I thought before, so thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Any other questions? No one?
I've got another question. So
Bismillah.
this surah itself is basically cursing Abu Lahab, isn't it?
Yeah. Because Abu Lahab cursed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well.
So what I find a bit interesting is Abu Jahl, he was remarked as like the worst of mankind, and
like the Fir'aun of the time.
the Fir'aun of Rasulullah's time. Even Mufti Menk said that you could argue that he's worse than Fir'aun, because even when Fir'aun was drowning, then he was spouting out that he believes, while Abu Lahab was like, make sure you cut my neck in a way where it looks like I've got a big head. So what I find interesting is Abu Lahab is explicitly mentioned in the Quran, but I don't think Abu Jahl is. Can you shed some light?
I think he is mentioned in one surah, but not by name. There's an interpretation that the ayah is quite specific to him. I can't remember which ayah it is. If I find out, I'll let you know. Let you guys know later. But yeah, it's not coming to my head, but I do recall there was an ayah related to that, to Abu Jahl. So yeah, Fir'aun, there's also narration that he would have accepted Islam if it was, he would have accepted Musa's revelation if it wasn't even for his vizier Haman. Haman, he was sort of pulling his strings and making it worse, and sort of getting to Fir'aun, where he was just pulling Fir'aun away from the message. They remember that these people, they have advisors and they listen to the advice of their advisors. So one idea is that, one interpretation is that Fir'aun, he would have accepted, he might have accepted Musa's message if it was not for Haman, but Allahu A'lam, we can only think about that so much. But yeah, definitely Abu Jahl was very, very he was such a tyrant that he threw guts, the innards of an animal on top of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was making sajda, and just to ridicule him. Subhanallah. So even that type of, even he is he's cursed. But Abu Lahab, he's just uniquely mentioned in the Quran. I think it also comes to show that it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter how close they are. It could be your own family. Yeah, even if you are a prophet, not everyone's going to accept what you say. Yeah, not even from your own family. Some people. So, but Allah Alam, we just make dua that we stay on the path of Islam. I think we only have a couple of seconds left. Does Sheikh Asif or Hafiz Sadikur want to add anything?
Just want to quickly make just a point on the recitation. I think a lot of the times a common mistake is instead of saying وَامْرَأَتُهُ, a lot of the times people say, I've heard وَأَمْرَأَتُهُ. That happens quite a lot. So just want to add that. But yeah, we only have a few seconds. Inshallah, we'll cover a few more points tomorrow, inshallah. Jazakallah khair to Ustadh Shuaib for your time and your knowledge. Jazakallah khair.